Community members who live in the south side of Corpus Christi and London areas voicing their opinions tonight about the future of their neighborhoods. The city invited people to give their feedback about development plans coming to those two areas. Our Marissa Cummings sat in today's meeting and joins us now in studio with what residents there had to say. Marissa?
Leslie, I spoke with several people at the meeting and their priorities for the development differed, but they all agreed on one thing. They're glad the city wants to hear what they have to say. From the beginning of the development plan process a year ago, Corpus Christi held its first community meeting in regards to the south side and London area. They then took those questions and concerns and have narrowed them down to key points for people to discuss today. For the London area, some of those points are reduce stormwater runoff and provide more outdoor recreation amenities. And for the south side, some focal points are improving road safety and expanding infrastructure. Carlos Torres has been a resident on the south side for decades. He says safety is his priority.
Being a former firefighter, I want to keep track of the public safety, make sure that they make new fire stations and police stations on the south side to take care of that growth on the south side.
The city says once they go through all the feedback, the next step is taking the plans to the Planning Commission, then to City Council. If you weren't able to make the meeting but still want to provide your input, the city has a survey you can fill out. You can find that survey on our website at KIIITV.com. Joe, Leslie.
Marissa, thank you.